We grew up on mixtapes and neon lights.
Hey there, everybody. We are the GlobeTrotting Trio. I am Amy,
I'm Shelley.
Hey, I'm Tammy.
and we are here to talk to you about flights and airport flashbacks. Talking about our first flights. That's going to be somewhat fun for you guys. My first flight, not so much. But let's go ahead and talk about what those are, and I'll let you know what it is here in just a minute. All right, so tell me what your first flight memory was. Do you remember that first flight? Like, where were you going? How old were you? Kind of give me some details.
Okay. I know this was not my first flight, but you said the first, like what you remember. This is the first flight I remember. And it was very traumatic. So my uncle, my mom's youngest brother, my mom has, what does she have? I don't know, three brothers and a sister. So she's one of five, and then she has like half siblings, and there's a whole ton of them. And the youngest one got married, and he was older when he got married, like in his 30s, late 30s, which seems to be almost average now, right? But he was older back then. And when he got married, they got married in Indiana. We live in Illinois. He was stationed in Nevada with the Navy. So he took my sister and I, when our dad passed, he was kind of the uncle that he was the single uncle. He was kind of the one that stepped in and like took all his leave to come be with us and bought us gifts and made sure we were doing okay. So he picks up my sister and I, and we drive to Nevada with him and his new bride. And we're going to stay at their house on base for like a couple weeks. But then we had to fly home by ourselves.
Oh,
We were young. And I was like, okay, what an adventure, you know? And this is still back when all the airlines assigned you like a stewardess, and they'd walk you in, you know, the parents or whoever's putting you on the flight could get you in your seat and make sure you're all secure and you sat right up front. It was pretty cool. We got like the wings and everything. Coming back home though, I remember I'm at the window seat, and this is when I decided I don't ever want to sit by the window. Like, and I was young. It took me until probably 10 years ago to sit next to a window. We're flying into O'Hare. Now, if you've ever flown into O'Hare, we have all the weather
mhm.
within a half a day. And flights can be delayed, flights cannot land, they have to circle. We're circling. Well, what is O'Hare right next to? I'll give you a hint. It's a really big body of water.
Yeah, the
All right.
lake.
Yes, we're circling over the lake, and we're leaning because we're circling. And I'm leaning over the lake, and I look out the window, and all I can see is water everywhere. And I was like, I want off of this plane. I want off of this plane. It was horrible. I know I have flown before that. I know I have. We've flown to Florida. Like, we've done other stuff. That's the one I remember. I think it was because it was traumatic. So,
I
And how old do you think you were?
so I was probably 10 or 11. We figured this out once, and I can't remember. I think I was 11.
Yeah. See, I think that would have been an adventure, not a scary moment.
I'm leaning over the body of
Over the
water. All I could see was water. There was no land anywhere.
uh,
But if you
No.
listened at the beginning, they told you right where your life vest would be and where your flotation device would be. So it was just an adventure.
Yeah.
Just
just
an
an
Okay.
adventure.
adventure. That's funny. That's funny. All right, we hear the traumatic also for Amy, and then I'll tell you my fun one.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll
good.
end it with fun. So my very first one, I was 27 years old. My dad was my everything. He was the guy that I was, he was my man. He's the one I always went to for everything. My rock, my everything. He had gone from Oklahoma City to St. Louis to help one of his friends, my mom and dad's friends, do some work on their house. And in the midst of all of it, he had started having many heart attacks throughout the day. And by the time his friends got home from work, he had had some major heart attacks and they had to take him into the hospital. They called from the military base. He was in the military hospital there on St. Louis, Illinois side. And they said, you got to get here. My mom was already there. She flew out immediately. And my sister and I had to get on the very first flight we'd ever done in our whole lives. We had no idea what we were doing. We had no idea how to get anywhere. We had never even thought about being on a plane because we were a road trip family. That's what we always did. And
Mhm.
climbed on it. an airplane. It got us to St. Louis. We were terrified the entire time, didn't have the gum thing, didn't know you were supposed to do that. Our ears were clogged and didn't pop. It was just a hot mess express. Needless to say, I was very thankful that on the way home, my dad's truck needed to make it back to Oklahoma. So I was able to drive his truck and do a huge road trip by myself coming home. But that was my very first trip. Now, my dad did survive from that. That was I want to say it was like probably somewhere around June, July, August, something like that, maybe. And he made it until no till May of the next year.
Oh boy,
I'm a big fat liar.
big
It
fat
was
liar.
August or September. And then he made
Love
it.
the
So yeah, because he had bypass surgery whenever he got back here and he was fine. We had all these different things. So yeah.
ugh,
You know what's crazy, Amy, is you
Mhm.
said, you were so thankful to be able to drive the truck home and go on a big road trip by yourself.
Mhm.
It's almost more frightening now to do a road trip across the US by yourself at that age than it is to get on a plane because
So
it's
we
so
were talking
common
about that,
now.
which I know this has nothing to do with anything, but Andrew and I were talking about this recently, that when he and I were young, like he was 16 years old and drove from Savannah, Georgia, all the way to Joplin, Missouri by himself
Okay.
in a car. Got
Huh.
there. His mom and
yeah.
dad were in one car, he was in another. They said, "Go, we'll catch up," and he left. He just drove. He drove on by himself. He knew how to
See?
do it. He knew all the places to turn. That's the same thing with me. And whenever I was young, we moved from Kansas to Oklahoma. I was 14 years old. I had my driver's license in Kansas, so my dad would still let me drive all the way back to Kansas to visit my friends whenever I wanted
Mhm.
to. It's a 5-hour drive. And I would jump in the car
Mhm.
without even thinking about it and driving. And we said, would we let one of our kids?
Mm-mm.
No, there is not one of our children I think we would have
Mm-mm.
allowed that to happen because I don't know that they could handle it. Because one of the things we didn't have back then,
Cell
GPS.
phones
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
GPS,
And see,
right?
Yeah.
yeah, no cell phones, no GPS, no nothing.
Mhm.
So we had to do it
Shoot.
all on our own. Yeah. Now,
Our
let's get back.
daughter-in-law Our daughter-in-law drove the grandkids home a few weeks ago. They had been here. She drove, that was the first time she's driven across, I mean, literally 15 hours across the country by herself with the grandkids and two dogs. I'm like following her on Google Maps. Like, we've got the location share. I'm following her the whole time. Like, if there's trouble, I want to know where she is. Oh, good grief. I used to drive all over the place at 16, just like you said. And
Yeah.
we didn't think about
Well,
it. So
didn't give it a
anyway,
thought,
now that I got
right?
us sidetracked, but it
Yeah.
is funny though,
All right.
just
We
how
just saw
things
that
have
squirrel
changed.
for a minute. Now let's come back. Let's come back.
All
So
right, let's
Tammy,
do it.
tell us what your fun story is.
And so I was later too in life because we didn't fly. We barely even vacationed. We had famcations. We went to see
Right.
family. And we live in Ohio, West Virginia, Virginia, Kentucky, and Illinois were the ones that we visited. So it was all around us. So my very first one was actually my first wedding, my first husband. And we
Wow.
actually, I know, so I say it was fun, but then there's a tragic, well, not tragic, but there's a bad ending. It's not tragic. It was actually a very good ending, but because I found my husband now and I love him and he's amazing. Um, but anyway, we actually flew to Hawaii. That was
Oh,
my very
Wow.
first flight. So we actually Columbus, Ohio to Chicago, and then Chicago all the way to Maui. We didn't stop anywhere else. It was all the way through, and I was a mess. I mean, truly, I was a mess all the way.
Hmm.
I mean, I can envision it right now because back then that was what shoot, when was that? 92, 3 maybe?
yeah.
Yeah, 99, actually probably 92. I don't even remember my first marriage. I don't, and that's how much it made an impression on me. Anyway, 92, I think it was. And so no cell phones, no nothing. And they let, the people that were coming with you to drop you off, they let them go all the way to the gate. And it was my brother and I mean, not my brother, my sister, my brother-in-law. and then us too, because they were shipping us off to get married, so they wanted to be there for us. And we got to the plane, we said bye, got on, and I had to hit every single bathroom down the concourse. That's what I remember, is every single bathroom down the concourse. But then once I got on, and that's what I'm like with Shelly, it's like it was such an adventure for me. I loved it so much, and that was my thrill, the excitement of doing that. And when we got into
You
Hawaii,
clearly,
yeah,
you clearly did not circle Michigan, Lake Michigan
no, we
in
did not.
O'Hare when you came home.
But I was over all this body of water for how many hours?
Yeah, hours upon hours upon hours. Yes.
Hours.
Yes.
But I remember when we landed, and now you go into Hawaii and Maui, and it's totally different. But you walked out on the air stairs onto the tarmac. It was not a jetway at all. It was, and I just remember that feeling going, oh my God, I'm in Hawaii. It's like it was just the thrill, the excitement. And still to this day, after all these years, it still is. It's memorable for sure.
Yes.
Can't
So you
remember.
brought something up in your story that we used to do with my kids whenever they were little. I say we. I used to do this with my kids whenever we were little. Before I flew, after I flew, we used to go do this. We used to go to the airport, you'd park, you'd walk in, and you'd walk down to the end of the terminals, and you get to
Yeah.
watch all the planes taking off and landing. That
Yeah.
was so much fun. But you can't do that now because we have TSA. But that was a great memory. Like, I don't know if my kids could ask them sometime if they remember doing that, but we used to do that
I
quite
remember doing that.
frequently. It was just
That
something fun that
literally,
you could do. Yeah.
yeah, that was literally the
Our-
first time I was ever in an airport even. I mean, it was
Really?
crazy. And the Columbus airport
Wow.
hasn't changed much. It still has that long thing going on and everything. So
Our little regional airport had this really awesome, like kind of a upscale restaurant in it. And it was, a lot of families went there, especially like on Sunday for brunch after church. But it had an outside door, like by the tarmac, and it was gated, but there was a little patio. You could stand out there, and there were stairs. You could go up on a balcony on top of the restaurant. Like, I mean, it's literally connected to the airport. You had to go into the airport to get to the restaurant. And I can remember as a kid sitting there with my grandparents all the time watching. I mean, I could like throw a rock at the people getting off the plane and walking into the airport. It was so cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's and that's really, I miss that part too, because even the restaurant that was here in Columbus, that it was right on the the runway, but it was obviously gated off, but that thing closed, and it's just because people weren't allowed to go close to the airport anymore. So yeah, it's missed that
So
part.
fun though. All right. So what if I was to ask you, did you have a second favorite trip?
Oh,
Memorable.
Yes.
So
I'll give you guys time to think. I'm going to go ahead and tell you.
You do.
Does that work?
okay, do it.
That way you guys have time to think about it. My second time flying, I was flying with one of my really great best friends from work. I worked in an insurance company. I was up in management, and we were going to Portland, Maine, so that we could do a conference with DRS. It was absolutely amazing. We had a great time. However, I learned a valuable lesson in that flight, because back in the day, you'd go in, you'd give them your luggage, right? There wasn't any of these printing your things. You just did everything at the counter. So I think it was probably, I don't know, 99, 2000, something like that, whenever that happened. And I went in, and I did not realize, because I still was not well versed on it. We were going to fly into Detroit, move from Detroit onto Portland. We had to make sure that they did the transfer tag on our luggage, and they didn't put the transfer tag on our luggage. So we're going in for a conference. We're flying in the day before it starts. So we're not going to get there till late that night, or later in the evening. Actually, it wasn't late that night. Get to Detroit, move to our next plane, not a thought in the world. Get to Bangor, because they had to divert us from Portland because Portland's airport was closed. Get to Bangor. And I always tell people the Wicked Witch of the West daughter works in the airport because she was not a nice person when we asked her what to do because our bags weren't there. Like my friend Trisha and I were like, what are we supposed to do? She was super not nice. Um, then we all get loaded onto a bus, us without anything because we
Oh my goodness.
didn't know the rule, put stuff in your carry-on or, all of that.
Sure, it
We
was
didn't
only your
know any of
second
those
flight.
rules, none
Yeah.
whatsoever. And we get in a bus. We take the hour and a half, 2 hour drive. I can't remember what it was to get to Portland, Maine. We check into our hotel. We ask the hotel, what can we do? It's late at night. It's after 10 o'clock in the evening. We're in Maine. Guess what they don't have in Maine? They don't have
Walmart?
Walmarts. They don't have
No.
anything. The only thing that is open 24 hours, Lands End.
Because they need all that thick, heavy, woolly clothes, right?
Yeah. We're trying to figure out what we're going to wear. We did not think because we did not live in the era where we had to dress up to get on an airplane. So we were
Right.
wearing sweats and comfy clothes so that we could, and zip up
Yeah.
the and stuff because we knew it was going to be September, it was going to be kind of chilly. So we just wore comfy clothes and we had nothing. We could not show up at this. So we ended up at midnight in a taxi riding over to Land's End. We found some pants and we found some shirts. It was the most expensive stuff we've ever bought in our lives because back
Uh,
then that was, I mean, I'm sure it still is, but it was still hugely expensive and
right.
not stuff we would probably ever wear again. But we had it.
You had it. You
Mhm.
had it.
That's
You had to have it.
hilarious.
Yeah.
That is
Uh,
too
That
funny.
definitely helped me learn some valuable lessons for future travel.
valuable lessons
Yes.
for sure.
Yes.
For sure.
All
So,
right.
picking my second favorite trip is really hard. I think maybe out of all three of us, I've probably been on an airplane probably more than all of you, just because of I started at the airline in 98, married in 2000 to an airline person. And so those of you that don't know that airline employees get free flights. So it's really hard for me to pick. Even I can't, and I'm trying to remember what my second flight would have been. So I never went again. I was only married the first time for like a year and a half, divorced him. And I don't think I traveled again um, until, I mean, I went to Chicago for training and stuff. But other than that, but then I remember when I started working for the airline and it was absolutely amazing. We went to see The Price is Right. We stopped in Vegas. I mean, those kind of things is yeah, in going to see those fun things or going for the day. That was actually that I could tell you that my first non-rev trip
Uh-huh.
was a day trip to
Oh.
DC to Washington
Oh,
DC.
fun.
And
Oh, I
that
thought you
was,
said to Tahiti. And I
oh
was like,
no,
you did that in a
DC,
day trip? Are you nuts?
Yeah, I know, DC. So, and I remember it was so cold. So it was probably, January, February, and I had this coat and of course, I was 30, and single, and there was a bunch of us that went, so we had fun. And Matt Lucas, my buddy Matt Lucas, shout out to Matt Lucas, who's still friends now to this day. But he went with me and he just says, I just looked at you because you had a hat on because you were freezing to death, this coat that was all wrapped up in you because you were freezing to death. And he's like, I just couldn't help just to laugh at you so much because you were, and we were just walking, freezing to death and all bundled up. I mean, it was very memorable for sure. And I was done walking by the time I was done and back on the plane. We left in the morning, got back at 8 o'clock, probably at night, but fun. Day trips are fun.
That's fun.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
That is awesome. All right, Shelley, what's your next one? Your next good trip? Do you remember?
I think the first time I went to California to see my son after he came home from a 2-year deployment. Oh my goodness. Like it just sticks out. So it's January here. It's freezing. It's cold. It's snowing. I took the train to Chicago to get my flight at O'Hare. Here's O'Hare again.
O'Hare.
I have
Yeah.
a love-hate relationship with this airport.
Uh-huh.
So if you've never done that in Chicago, you get off at the train station and you have about a 2-block walk. that you have to do to get to like the tram or the L, I guess is what it's called, to get on the L to get from downtown to the airport. It's snowing, like it's blizzard. Okay. They don't shovel sidewalks in Chicago during a blizzard.
No, of course not.
It's futile. There's
crazy.
no reason to, right? So I am pulling my luggage through snow that is like a foot deep or more, trying to get to the entrance for the L. And you have to go, downstairs.
Yeah.
And it was insane. The elevator wasn't working. So here I am carrying like this massive suitcase to get down these stairs, right? Because I have gifts for him and I have, I have to have summer clothes because it's nice in California. Oh, it was a mess. So I finally get there, get on the plane. I'm thinking we got a straight shot to San Diego. I'll be there in just a few hours. We can't take off because we have an unruly passenger. Not because of weather, like is 90% of the time in O'Hare. We have an unruly passenger that won't cooperate. And I remember this being the first time I was like, man, there's people that really behave like asshats. Like it's really bad.
Yeah.
These poor, like flight attendants, this is awful. And I had finally had enough. And I stood up and I'm like, listen, I have waited 9 months to see my son who just came home from a deployment. He has been deployed for 2 years. It has been 9 months since I've seen him. He is waiting at an airport in a few hours to get me. And if you don't sit down and shut up or get off this plane, we're going to have a problem. I was like, just sit down. I was like, oh no, I'm going to get kicked off. Like, and as soon as I did it, I sat in my seat and I was like super quiet. I didn't say another word. I was like, I am so going to get like picked up and carried off of here. Girl, I got free drinks the whole flight.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I was so mad. I'm like, just sit down and shut up because if you make me miss my kid, like we're going to have some serious issues here.
Yep.
So did the person get off?
She did.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mhm.
Nice.
There was a little bit of pressure for some other passengers after I made that announcement.
Oh yeah, sure.
They left.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, that's
Yep.
funny.
So when you guys were on all the flights that you've been on, do you remember before they had the plasticware and all of that, what kind of things
Oh.
that you used to be given? Like when you got your drinks, were they in cups or were they in the plastic cups?
They were glasses.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Coffee cups were coffee cups, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It wasn't like the little styrofoam or whatever
Yeah.
paper cups.
Now that's only reserved for first class.
I know.
You
I
get
know.
real cups in first class now.
So now I think all of us have been in first class. Yeah. We've all flown first class at some point. I did because my son was nice whenever I helped him move to San Diego for his station out there. He flew me home and he's like, oh, Mom, I've got enough credit. I'm going to go ahead and put you in first class. I'm like, oh,
Aw.
you could just do that whenever I want to go to Europe next. That'd be great.
Yes, that'd be wonderful. Yeah.
So it was fun. So yeah, I got the silverware, I got the glasses, got the plate, got all that kind of stuff. But that used to happen all over the plane.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're right. Because I do remember when I went to Hawaii, we had glass. Yeah. It wasn't the plastic, it was the glass.
Nope.
Crazy.
So have you ever seen flight attendants that still kind of use those tailored uniforms that they used to have years ago? Have you seen those recently?
Oh, I
So
love them. I think they're gorgeous.
yes, it's very few in between. But when we went to Fiji, Air Fiji, you still dress. You
Mhm.
still
Yeah.
dress, and it's usually
Mhm.
the international flights
Right.
that the airlines that do it. American,
Turkish Air is gorgeous.
yeah.
Their
American
uniforms.
doesn't even do it anymore. United, I haven't been on United forever, but I don't even think United has the nice tailored
Mm-mm.
stuff
There was
anymore.
somebody recently, and it was just a flight that I was doing. I think it was whenever we were coming back from Charleston. Maybe. It could be another one that we did. It might have been Miami to Oklahoma City or to Dallas, whatever. that there was one flight attendant out of the four that was on the plane that actually still had, and she, I swear, was wearing some kind of Estee Lauder make or perfume. Like she was
Perfume.
like old school, like she had been a
Mhm.
flight attendant for a lot of
Yeah.
years,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and she whipped everything out really quick. She was
Mhm.
really good at what she did, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, and I love going to LA and looking because you can actually see, oh, I'm sure O'Hare's the same way when you're going and seeing international flights. And
Oh yeah.
but LA, you can see all of those people, all of the flight attendants, all the crew, and like amazing to be able to see them
uh-huh,
dressed.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah. And you know, and we used to have to be dressed too. I
oh
mean,
yeah, no doubt.
mhm,
Um,
yeah.
Mhm.
When I
I
started the airline,
so I will tell you back when I started, I remember how everybody when the first flight I took, I remember
yeah,
everybody being so professional looking.
yeah,
And it still is. Like if you walk into, I've got a friend that works for one of the airlines. I think it's American right there. When you walk in, and she's very put together still, the front counter. It's a different put together than what it used to be because you
hmm,
used to have to always wear skirts, didn't you?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
And
oh
Well,
yeah,
heels
and
and
that's the
hose.
and
that's kind of the
hose,
difference between like they're business casual now, right? They're not in jeans, but they're not dressed up. They're not professional,
right,
which
right.
yeah.
When I started in 98, so I was with the airline 98 to 2003, I think it was.
Okay.
We still had to wear hose in 2003. We still had to do that. Do you know how many pair of hose that I went through because I would always snag them, do something with?
Mhm.
And even if we were wearing like those little squirt things that we could wear, we still had to wear hose. And they frowned on slacks. They wanted the women in
Mhm.
those little, you know,
Mhm.
skirt things or a dress or a skirt. Um, and that was in 2003, but things have changed drastically. But when we were flying, and we were doing non-rev flying, standby flying, we had to dress. We
Yeah.
could not have jeans on ever, ever. Now we can go in sweatpants and do whatever we want. Um, and I mean everybody does, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I was when I was at the airport when I went to Chicago last week, and I looked at people and I'm like, boy, this is the place where you
It's
really
gross.
you know, you don't know if it's a multi-millionaire or a bum on the street. I mean
It's
seriously,
bad.
now.
Yes.
So it actually puts all of us on the same level field there, you know.
Uh-huh.
But yeah,
For
but
sure.
yeah.
All right, so let's talk about what it is now more so today. What is the one thing that has helped you in your travel experiences? Do you have TSA PreCheck? Do you have global entry? What is it that you do? What
Yes
have you
and
applied
yes.
for and got?
Yes and yes. So TSA
Ditto.
pre-check, I've had probably 4 years now. I've had it. More the lines are getting longer now with TSA pre-check than they ever
Mhm.
have. But it's still way shorter than the other line. And global entry, I was actually that's a process that I took. I was approved and couldn't I live in Columbus. They don't have one here in Columbus. So I either had to go 2 hours north, south, whatever to do it. So I was never able to do it. So when I came back last year, year before, we did our questions, our interview there at the
Mhm.
airport when we came back. So this past year was the first time that I was actually able to use it, the global entry. And I'm like, oh, goodbye. I'm walking on through. It was like, I felt like I was that and everything else, you know. I thought I
Yep,
was the best person ever. I mean, it's so nice. It's amazing
it
to be
is.
able to do that.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
we completely skipped TSA and just did global entry, but it
Mhm.
took a long time for
Yeah.
us to get to the point. Like you have to
Yeah.
do your application, they have to do all kinds of different background checks and different things like that. Then you have to wait for them to say you can schedule your appointment.
Yeah.
Then you have to schedule your appointment. We had to drive to Dallas to do ours.
Oh, so
But we
you're
were doing
too.
ours
You were
because we
3
were going,
hours.
yeah, we
Yeah.
were going to Spain for sure. We needed it.
Mhm.
Now, that's interesting. Okay, so you had to schedule your appointment because you said you were going to Spain, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Because when I did mine, they're like, oh yeah, schedule your appointment. I'm searching airports within like 4 hours of me. And the only appointments I could get like didn't work with my schedule. Like there was only a couple I could get. So I just did mine when we came back. I don't know, I think we came back from Cancun one time.
Yeah.
And I just hopped over to another lane in O'Hare after I went through customs.
Yeah.
Then I went down. Um, I guess I went through immigration, and then I just went
Right.
down to a different lane and stood in line and did like answered my questions and everything then, and they approved me. So
Right.
I don't, does every airport do it that way? Do they have like, I shouldn't say every
Only,
airport,
I think it's the
international
international. Yeah, I
airlines,
think the
International.
international allow you to do it on your reentry, but we did
Okay,
not want to have to do that. We did not want to have to wait
Mhm.
through anything whenever we got to
sure.
W to leave to
And
go to Spain. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And it worked out best for us because all 3 of us were able to do it as we came back in
oh,
the
that's
country.
perfect.
Nice.
Yeah, it
That's
was. I mean,
perfect.
and it wasn't a very bit long wait, so it was just really convenient for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, just like you Chicago O'Hare, you couldn't get an appointment at O'Hare.
Yeah. I couldn't get an appointment that would work like with my
Yeah,
schedule because they only offer appointments like so many days
yeah,
every
they
month.
do.
And like, yeah.
So ours, we went to Dallas and did ours. We had to drive the
Mhm.
3 hours to get down there and do that, which was
Uh-huh.
fine. We went down, we did our interview, we had lunch with some friends, then we came home. It was not a big deal. Or maybe we didn't do lunch. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. So we go to Spain, we come back, and because Oklahoma City had none, they didn't do it. They weren't even going to be doing it. Oklahoma City opened up as soon as we got back from Spain. They said, I'm like, seriously, seriously, seriously. 30 minutes away from my house. I could have done it 30 minutes away from my house if you'd have opened it up
So yeah,
before.
But
now
now you know
Columbus,
where to tell your friends to go.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So Columbus, Ohio, actually does it once a month now, once a month. So yeah,
There you go.
but yeah,
Nice.
I'm sure it
I'm
gets
not
filled
kidding.
pretty quick though. All right, so
Oh,
think about other things. So whenever, and I don't know the answer to this because I was not a frequent flyer back in the day. What was the bag limits back in the day? Like what was it? Were there any limits? Was there weight limits, that kind of thing?
mm-mm.
No.
Uh,
No. In
I
98, we had I don't even think we had bag limits, honestly. They could check as many as they wanted
felt like it was,
because I remember, oh my
I
gosh,
don't know.
these people that went internationally that had those big, I never had to charge them anything at the ticket counter. Probably towards,
Wow.
after 9/11, things started getting
Yeah.
different. I think that was the turning point for a
Mhm.
lot of things in the airline industry. And I think that was the bags, because if you unlimited bags and you're trying to get an airplane out and you're trying to check every bag, and that's exactly what we
Mhm.
did. And I think that was when
Mhm.
everything 2 bags under 50 pounds,
Mhm.
blah blah blah, all of that. So
Right.
um yeah,
That's okay.
yeah.
That's good to know. I never knew that. But I will
Mhm.
tell you that we really like to travel with the carry-on in a backpack, so it works for us. Are there
I know it's so crazy as an airline employee because you never know where you're going to go. Obviously, if you could get bumped off a flight, blah blah. You plan it pretty well. But
Mhm.
when I first started flying, that was what we did. We did a carry-on and a backpack, and that was it. Regardless of where we went, that was what we did. And as I'm not old, but as I'm getting older,
as you
I'm like,
matured?
I'm matured. I'm like, check that bag. I'm done. But it's different for me because I don't pay for bags.
Right. I
If
know
I
it's
had to,
not so we don't
Mhm.
necessarily pay for bags either whenever we go. That's one of the fun things that we have through what for our American Airlines thing. We don't have to pay for our
Mhm.
bag, but the problem is I don't like to wait for my bags at the end
yeah,
because inevitably
Oh,
they will
yeah.
say it's going to be on carousel 3
Yeah.
and you'll be waiting and waiting and waiting and there all your stuff is on carousel 1 behind you because somebody didn't
yeah,
tell somebody that they were going to move it somewhere else.
Mhm.
Or
yes,
they're backed up and they have 30 planes that they're trying to get all the baggage off.
uh-huh,
And God love all the guys that do all that stuff. But then you're standing there waiting and waiting and waiting, thinking you're not.
yeah,
So we just don't like the delay of game, really, is what we don't like. So there's a couple of things here. So an app, and I want to tell you about an app that Andrew uses even whenever we are on our plane. He loves to get the internet and use this app, Flight Tracker.
Tracker.
Oh yeah.
Yes. It is the
Yes.
craziest thing
Yep.
ever. We're driving down the road and he'll like grab my phone, see where do you think that plane's going? Where do you think that plane's going? And we're able to track the plane and which directions it's gonna go to Denver, it's gonna go to wherever. And we'll be able to play that game. So that's what we do.
Okay, so
Yes.
this needs to happen. This needs to
Yes.
happen. We need to plan a trip. Well, Shelly can go too, but Amy.
Oh, so kind of you.
I know, but I didn't want to say what I said. Then I'm like, oh, Shelly could come too. But you and me and our husbands, we need to go to LA.
Okay.
We need to sit at the In-N-Out burger that is literally on the runway. And both my husband and your husband will sit there with the tracker without a doubt, because these big
That's
international
hilarious.
planes are coming.
Where's it
by,
going?
and
Where's it going? Oh, it's going
Yes.
to London. Oh my gosh, it's going to Barcelona. Oh my, yeah.
I know that would be such a fun trip. It would be amazing. It really would, because it would be the excitement of our men. They would just be like, and with places we've never even, things we've never even seen our husbands talk. They don't talk much.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, see, that's why I said
I
that.
could see it, just so you know, Alan would totally get down with that too. I bet he would.
Oh, Alan would too.
He would.
Oh, he'd make up stories. Like
Yeah.
they can sit there and track him and he'll make up the stories. Oh, and so-and-so's on that plane and they're going to get there and they're going to do this and he is so visual, being in marketing and sales. Like he'll create this whole story out of
Yeah, I think that would be
Andrew and Dave
amazing.
tracking them.
Let's
We
do
should
it.
plan that.
Let's plan it. We
Let's
can do a
do.
day trip.
I like it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yes. All right. So that's a
You do
great
know
app,
we live
but
in
I
the
really
Midwest,
do.
right?
I do love the pre-check-in and all that stuff now that they have on the airline apps. That's
Oh,
amazing compared to what we used to do. Because we used to go in, you'd have to go check up at the counter, like I said before, you said before. But now check in 24 hours or more before whatever you're allowed, and then you walk in and you just go straight to TSA and get through and get to your.
Fun.
It's beautiful. Your
It's a
boarding pass is
beautiful
right
thing.
there.
Yes.
So when I started in 98, see all these stories I have, because I love the airline. I love being there at the airline, at the airport, but we still have paper tickets in 98. And it's, obviously now it's all e-tickets. It's not, there's no paper whatsoever. But it's fun. It's fun to see people, because, we would actually, ticket counter, you would have 10, 15 agents.
Right.
And you can't do that, agent. Now you go and you have maybe 4, because they have self check-in and people are checking in themselves. You really don't need that many agents. So it's definitely cut down on the employees too. So
yeah, I will tell you this, that it took me a lot of years. So anybody else, it took me a lot of years of flying before I finally said, I don't need the paper ticket, because I would still get the paper ticket and have my thing on my phone. Because every thought in my mind went through like, oh, what happens if my phone dies? What happens if I set my phone down and I forget where I put it and I have to walk away and leave it? I just can't. Well, now, because it's even more efficient, Andrew and I both have it on our phones. He has my boarding pass and his. I have his and mine, because we're linked together. So it all works out.
And I don't know if, of course, because I haven't done anything except for TSA. Literally, when you're at getting through the metal detectors and stuff, the TSA, all you have to do is give them their driver's license, and you can go right through. You don't need anything, nothing, not even your phone stuff. So, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, because we have to have real IDs. That's another thing. You have to have the real ID now to fly. If you don't have a real ID, you can't fly.
And there are still people out there that don't have it. People,
listen,
go get it.
Did you listen to any of the stories of different things that people were trying to use to be able to get on a plane? Like you need a form of ID. Was it like Costco cards and different things like that?
No, are you
cannot
kidding?
use your Costco card. No, you cannot use your whatever. You have to have your real ID. Yeah.
I mean, come on. Again, public service announcement, get your real ID or get a passport.
Right.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yep. All right. So the very
I
last
mean, I
thing
guess
we
if
want
you
to talk
don't want to fly, If you don't want to have all the wonderful experiences that we've just been talking about,
yeah,
then don't go get
exactly.
it.
Then
But I
don't
don't
go get it.
understand why you wouldn't want to.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
I
even circling as an 11-year-old leaning sideways over Lake Michigan trying to land in O'Hare. I mean, come on, it's still an adventure. Do it.
It is.
That's hysterical. All right. So the very last thing we want to talk about is giving some people some tips on things that they
No.
remember to do or bring or take with them whenever they fly. Mine, as always, every time going to be you pack your essentials in your carry-on and have it with you at all
At
times.
all
Do not
times.
put it in a checked
Yeah.
bag ever. Have one change of clothes. If you're going somewhere tropical, have a bathing suit,
Yeah.
extra pair of flip-flops or something of that nature, any medication, all your charging cords, all in a carry-on of some sort. Backpack, your purse, I don't care what it is.
Mhm.
A man purse, don't really care. You just have it on that. Don't put it in your checked bag. That's my takeaway for you.
That's
Now,
right.
what do you got?
Agreed.
Drop the
Make
mic.
a copy of your passport.
Oh, there you go.
Always make a
passport.
copy of your passport.
Yep,
Yeah. Yeah.
for sure.
Always.
Keep that
And
digital.
you know, yeah, and carry on your patience too. I mean, I know that we get frustrated and when things don't go the way that they're supposed to go, that poor airline employee, unless they're being mean, that poor airline employee has no control over what will happen. So that's probably it. But I everything Amy said, do it. I mean, just do it. I went to
Yes.
Chicago and I had my flip-flops in my carry-on. I mean, and a pair of shorts because I like to go with capris in the summertime because in the airplane you never know if it's going to be cold or warm, whatever. The capris are always a good thing to do.
Yeah.
But carry them.
You know
For
what's
sure.
wait a minute. That's hilarious. You packed your flip-flops in your carry-on. So my lightest shoes go in my checked bag because I need the weight for my other stuff. My heaviest shoes go in my carry-on and I'll smash them down the best that I can to get more in there. But I don't want those in my checked. I need that weight.
I know. And I used to be, well, this is totally different too, but I used to be a really good packer. Like I'd only bring one pair of shoes and the one I'm wearing. That's it. Now I went to Chicago this past, week. I had I think 5 pairs of shoes. 5
that's
pairs
awesome.
of shoes. I mean, and the ones I was wearing. And of course, thanks to my Amy, I have my travel shoes and I love them. I wear them everywhere. And I had to buy some new ones. So,
Awesome.
Do you know I plan outfits around shoes so that I only have to take 3 max? And one of those is going to be water shoes if I'm going someplace tropical.
Yep.
Yep.
So when I went to a tropical destination with Dave, probably Cabo San Lucas, if I just want to bring one out, literally one bathing suit, one pair of flip-flops, and like 2 shorts and a shirt. That was it. That was when I was in my 30s, when we were in our 30s. But for some reason, my brain is warped now that I have to have every nice outfit for dinner and you make it an experience.
Get you those laundry sheets and do your wash in the sink, my friend.
Yeah.
Yep. I learned that trick from Shelly for sure. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we appreciate you being here with us today. We hope you got some entertainment and some knowledge out of it. But you know what? We're going to kind of flip the script next week. So make sure you come back. We're going to talk to you about what we do in the travel industry and how you might be able to do it as well. All right, guys, it has been so much fun. Have an amazing rest of your week, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
She makes